Hoister up, crew! Welcome to a new video. We are in this video taking apart our Barlow 19 winches. We cleaned them up already, but in the video we're going to disassemble them, put it back together so you can see the process. This is already back on the boat with the new spring that we ordered. It's later in the video. That spring did work. These are 2-speed winches. Good to go. Before the season, we're going to take this drum off, just to give a little lubrication to all the gears. They say to do it quarterly, more if you're racing. But let's jump into this video, crew. So you have a part here. We'll put it back together, disassemble it for the video, reassemble it so you get the whole process. We weren't planning on rebuilding these yet. We're cleaning them. But when I went to go take off the water heater, there's a strap that supports off one of those bolts. It twisted by hand. The rest of the 4 bolts, they also would spin by hand. So I had to take it off anyways. And since it's off the boat, well, let's clean it. And if you could see here how dirty these winches were. They don't appear to ever be cleaned. The grease that was in there looked like a clay, like a hard modeling clay. It took about a day to clean these, soaking time just to soften up the grease. Alright, so let's jump into this video. As always, we gotta fight the scurvy here. Refreshing. So this one's already been cleaned, so you'll be able to see the process. Barlow 19, they're stamped here. We're gonna take our 3/16 Allen. And I was able to break this loose on the boat by holding the drum and using the ratchet to spin it off. A good quick thrust and it came right off. So you'll have your first screw and there'll be a thick bronze washer. And when I disassemble this, one of the springs went flying, so one of the pawls are going to drop out of here, out of this top gear. So as we pull straight up, and there's our pawl because I don't have a spring. And our thick bronze washer. We'll put these back together. Now on our drum, you pull straight up. This will be your top piece. There's your pawl. It's got the spring in it. So when you take these off, you just lift straight up. It'll slide out. Hold your hand in here, your finger here. So when you slides off, you can capture that spring. And when you put this back together, it looks like a little R. The flat section will go into the pawl, leaving the little stem to come up. Set that off to the side. Here's our top piece. There's where our winch handle locks into. Here's our drum. I think this would be a ring gear. There's our locking paws right there. Now on this, stick the drum out of here, save some room. On this particular winch, there are 2 roller bearings. One of my roller bearings had a gap here in the center. These retainers actually will pull apart. I had to push mine back together after I cleaned them. But you can kind of see there's a seam in the middle. Everything looks pretty good. Some of the ends are a little worn out just from not having enough lubrication and spinning. These rollers need to turn freely. That brings us to the base assembly. On this winch there are 5 bolts that hold it to the boat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Forward facing was this bolt, and the gear was facing aft. Turn this gear, it turns the center. It's hex key which fits into this top collar. You can rebuild this while it's on the boat. You can leave the base. We're going to use that same 3/16 and take out the 4 bolts. And our next piece will come out, housing, with the roller bearings lined on. On this winch, install this incorrect because there is a pilot here for the gear. Next piece, you might as well take this off as whole assembly, because in here is another set of pawls, and this one's got all the springs in it, so when you loosen it, most of the time the pawls will remain in place. I would still, once you get a little bit of clearance, hold them in place so the springs don't go flying. See, there's another set of our sprags. Again, hold the spring so we don't lose them. There's our gear. This gear just pops straight up, and this pin will come out. You just pry it out, and that is the whole assembly. Put everything in there for you. Our drum. Now putting this back together is pretty simple. On this winch, everything's pretty much self-keyed just by the design. And you can't put anything in backwards. The gear looks the same, top or bottom. We'll put it in the same way. I can tell this side rode down because it's shinier than this side. We'll just put it in the same way. And I'll take this back apart and re-lube it. I'll probably use a product called Slide Glide. It's a brake grease. It's silicone based. Silicone is great water repellency. It'll stick to metal. That's what I'm going to use. They do make a special grease for these. I'm not going to go with that. I'm going to use stuff that I already have. So we need to put our, I guess, sun gear into our sprag. First thing we need to do is put our pawls in. Again, our flat section of the R will go in. And we're going to get this started. Flip it around really quick. And we're going to start to place this in a hole. Just a little bit. Holding your 2 fingers back, they'll keep it in place. We'll work the gear down. So I got new springs on order. I'll share that part number. Hopefully they fit. If they come in before I finish editing this video, I'll let you know if it was a success or if they are the incorrect springs. Nice to work over a tray in case you drop something. And we'll put it into our assembly here. All you gotta do is push it together. We're going to turn it clockwise, and that force will automatically work the pawls inwards, and they will automatically seat. That goes into our center, into our base. I'm just going to leave this somewhat loose, as I'm going to come back here and grease it. Hopefully our springs come in. It's really not too hard to put these back together. This is a 2-speed winch. It is not self-tailoring. As you know, have a few more pieces up at the top if you had a tailoring winch. We have these old winchers. They still make them. They've been bought out. Sometimes the springs can be a little tricky. This one doesn't have a spring. It's just going to drop in. Since I don't have a spring, it won't retain itself, so I'll have to put it in upside down so the pawl doesn't fall out. We're going to turn this one counterclockwise. Drum bolt in. This tray out of here. That's locking. I won't be able to do this without being on the boat. There you have it. There's our Barlow 19. Okay, crew, one more thing before we let this video end. I'm down in the Lazarus, and we are going to look at one improvement which I think, well, I know is needed. Hard to see. Right there are our 5 winch mounting bolts. We swapped out those tiny washers that barely cover the bolt to these extra thick fender washers, stainless steel. These we got off boltdepot.com. We've also used them for other applications, like our Genoa track. As you can see here, we replaced the wood instead of the tiny little washers they had before. There's so much more holding power with these washers. So I would recommend that, because what you find is that those little washers start to pull through the fiberglass over time. Not these big washers. And just a quick comparison of what they put on and what we put on. Let's also look at that thickness difference. Tell me which one's going to hold better. And this one came off the boat somewhere, and it's dished. It's actually bent. Thanks for watching, crew. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. It's going to help us get more content out. See what you guys want to see next. We've been working on our O'Day 28. That's what these winches are off of. Alright, crew, thanks for watching. See you next time.